This is the 12th question in the SQL 50 series, and it is about students and examinations. Now, this question has three tables: students, subjects, and examinations. Now, student table has, student ID and student name. Subject table has just one column, that is subject name. Examination table has two columns, student ID and subject name. And now they want this as an output. So the question is, we have to find a solution in which the number of we have to display the number of times each student attended each examinations, and we have to return the table. We have to order it by student ID and subject name. Now this is our output. We have student ID, student name, and subject name. Now student ID, subject name, and student name are all present in these two tables itself, right? So we may or may not need the second table, but let's observe this question, or let's observe this output very closely. Now if you see, we have subject ID 1, 2, 13. We have only three student IDs, okay, unique student IDs in the examinations table, but we have four unique student ID in the students table. If you see, Alex here is missing in the table here, right? Now, what they want us to do is they want us to find out um, how many exams each student has attended, okay? And the format is something like this: there is the student name and there's also a subject name. Now, for Alex here, if you see, we have Alex, there is maths, physics, and programming, and all are zero here. Okay, that's the first thing. And let's say we have Bob. Okay, so we have Bob, student ID 2. Okay, student ID 2, Bob. We have maths and programming here. All right, but here, if you see, we have maths, programming, but there's also physics as well. Now, if you do a left join, what happens? If you do a left join, everything from the left table will be visible. That is, Alice, Bob, John, and Alex will be visible in here. But in next to Alex, all the subjects will show as null. Okay. So, but that's not the output what the question is expecting. So the question wants us to find out the subject name and how many times that student has attended the exam. Even if it is zero, we have to return it as zero, not as null. All right. And same thing goes with Bob's, is it physics or what? So Bob's ID is 2. And we have Bob for programming and Bob for mathematics. So physics. So physics also, it is showing as 0. How do we tackle this question? All right. So I think that's why they gave us the subjects table. So what we have to do is we have to first get the Cartesian product, so that we have student ID, student name, and for each row there is a combination of these three. For example, Alice there should be one row with student ID 1, Alice and Bob, another row with student ID 1, Alice and physics, and the other row with the student ID 1, Alice and programming. So that's the Cartesian product. So we achieve the Cartesian product by using a cross join. Let's do that now. Let's write a select statement, and then let's write our join. So we'll select star from students, and then we cross join it with subjects table. Okay, and so we'll specify cross join. All right, let's run this code, and you'll see that it would have returned a Cartesian product. All right, so we have a Cartesian product now. We have student ID, and then we have all the three subject name in different rows. Okay, now this, consider this as a separate table here. All right, now using the student ID and the subject name, so we have student ID and subject name in examinations table as well here. So using these two columns, we have to join these two columns from the examination table now. When we do that, we will get the fourth column, in which we can actually calculate the number of times each student has given an examination. For example, when we join this, what will happen is Alice and math, for example, here Alice and math, there will be a count here as to math, how many times the Alice has given math. So it's 1 time, 2 times, and 3 times. So there'll be 3 next to Alice. All right. So in order to achieve that, we have to join our examinations table as well. So we have to do a left to join so that all the combinations what we see here that gets visible. So let's do a left to join. And now let's specify our join condition. So first join will be on, of course, the student ID. And it should be s dot student ID and then e dot student ID. And there should be a second join. When we do this join on the student ID, both the tables will get the cross join table with the examination table will get matched, but only at the student ID level. It will not get joined on the subject name level. I'll tell you what I'm talking about so that we'll have a clarity. So if we run this query now, let's see. Okay, so now if you see student ID is getting matched, right? But if you see programming is getting matched with subject name as math, so it won't actually give a correct count because what we need is we need programming and how many times Alice has given programming, and if it is math, how many times Alice has given maths. We have to aggregate it, which will give us the wrong result because if we aggregate it now on the subject name, next to programming it will show math twice or math thrice on the next to programming, and next to physics math will show as next to physics we'll see the number as 2. So it will give us a wrong result. So both has to be a match. Student ID should be matched with student ID, subject name should be matched with the subject name. So let's specify a second join condition. Okay, we'll write and because the second join, and then we'll join it on the subject name. So we'll join it from sub dot subject name equal to e dot subject name. Okay, now if we run this query, we should get the matching IDs and matching subject names. Yes, if you see student ID and it has a matching subject name as well. All right. Now, it should be very easy. We should just aggregate the subject name. We have to create a count. We have to include these 3 columns like they said in the question here. So student ID, student name and subject name. Let's include these 3 columns. And along with these 3 columns, we have to create another column, an aggregated column by counting the subject name. And then we have to group it by student ID, student name and subject name. So that should give us the answer. Right. So let's write a select statement now. We'll take a student ID first. We'll take it from student table. Then let's take student name from student table again. Then lastly, let's take the subject name from the examinations table. Now let's count the subject name. Or let's try this way. Let's take subject name from subject table. And then let's count subject name from examination table. And let's give this an alias. The alias is nothing but attended exams. Okay, so whenever there is an aggregation, we have to group it. Let's group it by all these 3. Okay, and then after grouping it by, we'll have to order it because the question wants us to order it by student ID and subject name. Let's run this query and see if it's working. Okay, we have to remove the comma here. All right, so that's accepted. Now, the first tip in the interview question series. So whenever you're giving your technical interviews, it is very important to talk loud. Right, irrespective you know the answer to the question or you don't know the answer to the question, you're at least approaching the problem here. Okay, so like I did in this explanatory video, I just didn't type my answer here. I was talking about my steps. Every step I was keeping you as the viewer informed. In the same way, you as the interviewee, you have to keep your interviewers informed on what you are thinking. So when you do this, the interviewer will understand and will acknowledge that you have the you have the ability to think of a solution. Even if you don't know the answer, that doesn't matter. All you just need to know is the interviewer needs to know if you know the basics. He needs to know what kind of approaches you're thinking, and if you failed, he needs to understand that you have given enough attempts, you have tried different ways, and then too you have not achieved the answer, right? That will create a good impact. Not just assume that you are not talking on the technical interview and you're just focusing on writing the query, you're just typing everything. In this case, what the interviewer will think is that you don't know the answer. You may you may be blank, and that's why you're not speaking. You're just trying to write something on the on the query. So do remember, next time when you're giving your technical interview, always talk your thoughts. So whatever think you're thinking in your mind, like let's try this step and let's try that step, please talk it over the interview, so that the interview listens to your thoughts and he understands that you're giving you're trying your best. So having getting the results correct or incorrect, that's secondary, right? And a lot of times the interviewer may not even mind if you get the wrong answer. He just wants to know what kind of approaches you're using and if you know the basics or no. Okay, so that's the interview tip, the first interview tip of the playlist. In case if you're unaware of the playlist, kindly click on the link that I've given on the top of this video, and please follow my channel, like my video, and give your comments. That will support my channel. Thank you so much.